You're listening to the Sacred Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Kara Ray, aka the Sacred Mama. I'm a mindset and relationship coach, helping mothers nurture the relationship between themselves, their spouse, and their children. This is also sometimes inside of a co-parenting relationship. This podcast was designed specifically for mothers, stepmothers, and soon-to-be mothers to come together and truly support one another, to have the real, raw, honest, unfiltered, and soulful conversations about the realities of motherhood. My goal is for mothers to reclaim their self-worth and reclaim their self-identity while navigating motherhood. It's time you treated yourself as a priority because most of all, you matter. I believe that you can have the thriving family life. I believe that you can have the booming business. And I believe that you can have the passionate and abundant relationship. Most of all, I believe you can fully love yourself in the now without sacrifice. Throughout this podcast, you'll gain access to the minds of industry leaders and of course, solo episodes by yours truly. So let's dive in. Welcome to the official first relaunch episode of the podcast. We have had a whole brand new vibe, brand new name, everything. I am so excited to finally release the Sacred Mama podcast. Oh my goodness, this has been a long time coming. Thank you to all my listeners, those who will be listening, those who are going to be joining. By the way, guys, this is a completely unfiltered podcast. So when you hear me, I have no notes in front of me right now. There is no pre-recorded things. It's literally as it goes, as it flows. So I am so excited to be recording this first episode for the relaunch for you, simply because, as I stated just a few seconds ago, is that this has been a long time coming. And for me, this is coming at such a beautiful time in my life, and I can't wait to share all of the exciting things, all of the transformation, the different seasons that I went through in the last, I would say, about 5 months, because it's been quite some time since I've launched an episode on the podcast. You know, just before I had my son, I had taken a little bit of a break because I was unsure of the direction on where I wanted to take this. Plus, I was also unsure of the capacity that I would have bringing, my son into the world and, being a family of 4, well, technically a family of 6 plus 2 dogs. So you could call us a family of 8. Anyways, I wasn't sure how I was going to adjust, and I wanted to ensure that I had set myself up for success. And, I had let you guys all know that the podcast was going on a little bit of, not a hiatus, but a little bit of a break. And now we're back. And so this podcast has made the shift because I'm a mom, and I'm not only a mom. And so this podcast is going to really dive into what it is to reclaim your self-worth, reclaim your power of being, a mother, but a woman inside of motherhood and outside of motherhood. We're going to have discussions around goals, dreams, desires. We're going to have the real raw conversations surrounding motherhood and pregnancy, childbirth. We're going to have the discussions around postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, those stigma topics that really deserve conversation. And we're going to have real conversations with moms about their current reality and what is going on inside of their lives, whether that's business, whether that's family life, whether that's in their marriage, whether that's in their relationship with their friends, and specifically the relationship with themselves. And so this is going to be a really powerful podcast. It's going to be a catalyst for a lot of moms. And it's really going to be an area where you can feel safe and heard. And this is a safe place for you guys to also send me suggestions on what you guys desire to hear. If there's a specific topic that you need guidance on, please do not hesitate to ask, because this is the place to do so. There's also going to be, so you'll hear solo episodes, obviously from myself, but you will also hear episodes from industry leaders. I'll have guest experts inside of this space that are going to come inside of, holy, if I could speak, that are going to come inside of this space and really provide you with incredible value. There's a special event, because this is launching before the event. I can't say just yet, but there is something incredible that's also going to come onto the podcast here for you guys to tune into. And really my goal is to empower moms to believe in themselves again and to reclaim their self-worth, and that they are a priority, and that always you come first. Your wants, your needs, your desires, you take care of you. Yes, I talk about this. If you follow me on Facebook, if you follow me on Instagram, if this is the first time you're ever listening to me, I talk about how you can never give from an empty cup. I always use this analogy because it is something that I truly believe, is that you cannot give from an empty cup. That whole saying of, if you have a cup and it's empty and you have nothing else to fill it with, so your pitcher is empty. Imagine if it was the reverse, where you have this cup, this saucer, but then you have a full jug, and you keep pouring and you keep pouring, and it overflows and it overflows, and you never feel depleted. We live in a society right now where mothers have a lot of judgment, a lot of fear, a lot of worry, overwhelm, burnout. And it's really time that we break free from societal restraints. It's time that we really empower one another, that we link arms together, and that we embrace what motherhood is supposed to be. And, the definition of what motherhood is supposed to be to you. Okay. So what does motherhood actually mean to you? What has your journey of motherhood looked like? Have you struggled? Have you had worries, fears, doubts, limiting beliefs? Have you felt comparison? Have you felt trapped? Have you felt like a victim? What have you gone through? Please let me know. My email is going to be attached in the show notes. So please do not hesitate to send me an email. Please don't hesitate to post a review and let me know what your thoughts are, because this is very important to me. Okay. And so, like I said, inside this space, we're going to have the real, raw, honest conversations about what it is to be a mother, but also what it is to also reclaim our self-identity outside of motherhood. I'm not just a mom. My name is Kara. I'm also a passionate, caring, understanding, empowering, nurturing. I also feel like I'm a little bit of a hard ass sometimes. And, I stand up for what I want, and I have really solid beliefs. And I could list all of the other things that I do as, I'm a wife, I am a daughter, I'm an auntie, I'm a niece. I have a lot of, I wear a lot of hats. But really, when it comes down to, when I ask who you are inside of motherhood and who are you, I'm not just saying, are you a mom? Are you Kara? Are you a wife? What I'm asking you is, who are you? Like, who are you at a very core level? And so this space is really going to rip down the layers that you have placed up, in front of yourself. We're going to have those conversations about limiting beliefs and what's stopping you from living, the most thriving family life you possibly could have. Because I have very strong beliefs that you can have a thriving business, you can have the thriving family life, you can have the passionate and, sexy as hell relationship. You can have it all. There does not have to be sacrifice. Plus, you can be completely in love with yourself. And I mean that in the most loving way, is that you can have all of this and there doesn't have to be sacrifice. Of course, there needs to be boundaries and values. And inside this podcast, we're going to have those conversations, but you can have everything. There does not need to be a sacrifice. There does not need to be, oh, well, maybe I can have it later. Oh, well, maybe 20 years down the line, I can do this. No, you can have it now. And the power in this is that you make a choice, you make a decision, and you make the choice to empower yourself. You make the choice to move forward. And you'll hear me say this many times inside this podcast, is you have a choice. Every morning you wake up, you have a choice. Every morning you wake up, you have the power to make a change. Every morning you wake up, you have the power to shift your perspective. A beautiful thing I want to quickly touch on, because this is just a short episode and an introduction for you guys, but I'm going to talk about personal practices in the morning too for moms. And, whether that looks like in the morning, in the evening. I always recommend in the morning. It's a great way to start your day. But gratitude has massively shifted my life in ways that I haven't fully been able to comprehend just yet. And I'm going to share with you as I go, but we're going to have just these open conversations and this realness. And another thing I want to mention in here is that I'm also a stepmom, and we are going to have very open conversations about the relationships between mother and stepmother. And we're really going to talk to the mom, and we're going to also talk to the stepmom. And my goal here, and I have a big goal, and not everybody might agree with me, but this is my goal, is that we can shift the negative relationships that seem to be transpiring between mother and stepmother, and that we can really work together and create this beautiful unison, this beautiful and thriving relationship where two women can come together and support children with all the love in their heart. And there doesn't need to be resentment, anger, frustration, belittlement, or anything else. And, the reason why I bring this up, and there's going to be another episode where I will divulge a lot more information on, my situation, things that have happened, because I believe it needs to be talked about. And it's time that we stand up for ourselves. I believe as a stepmother, I don't have to prove my worth. I believe as a mother that I don't have to prove my worth to anybody else. The only person I need to prove my own worth to is myself. I don't have to prove it to anybody else. And I don't expect anybody else to also stand there and constantly prove themselves, right? That's just not that. When we say it that way, if I said to you, I expect you to prove your worth, you would look at me like, what? There's probably a few other things that would go inside your head, but the first thing. And this is why this is important, because these conversations need to happen. And there's going to be an episode on the podcast here that's also going to be released, and it's with Kari. And my goodness, you guys, we have a really open conversation about motherhood, about step parenting, and really the questions that kind of surface. And there was a really great one, and I encourage you to listen to this episode, but I digress here, guys, because this podcast is, like I said, it's meant to be a catalyst to empower women, to empower mothers, to empower stepmothers, women who are soon to be birthing life into this world. This is what this is for. And I am so excited to, utilize my voice on this platform to bring you guest experts, mothers who have this desire to change the freaking world, who know at a core level that we can come together and have these beautiful conversations without judgment, without fear, without worry, without limitation. And so I encourage you to be very open-minded when you listen to this podcast. I encourage you to ask the questions, to reach out, to talk about the things that come up for you. And most of all, I encourage you to be open and just have the willingness to know that, opinions may differ, but this is a platform that is going to really transform the lives of moms. And we're going to have those real conversations that need to happen. And so I welcome you to this podcast. I'm so, so excited to get to know all of you. I'm so excited for you guys to get to know me and the guest experts that'll be inside this space. I'm excited for what this is going to bring for a ton of moms, stepmoms, women, around the world. And I cannot wait to continue this journey with you. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this first relaunch episode. The excitement is unbelievable. It has been a long time coming, and I just cannot wait for you guys to hear what's to come on this, because it's going to be good. So hang on tight, guys. All right. Wishing you guys the most incredible day, evening, whatever time you're watching this or listening, I guess I should say. And I will see you guys all in the next episode. All right. Bye, everyone.